Every great star is defined by their light, but Lady Gaga's brilliance has always been inseparable from her shadows. For over 15 years, Stefani Germanotta has commanded global attention by transforming herself into a living, breathing piece of controversial performance art. Her career isn't just a collection of pop hits. It's a high-wire act where artistic vision and outright scandal collide, always pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable in mainstream culture. She has given the world countless iconic moments, the anthems, the costumes, the sheer theatrical ambition. But she has also, perhaps deliberately, created a permanent state of artistic agitation. We are used to Gaga generating noise, but in 2025, that noise became terrifyingly real. Our journey into her top 10 most shocking and defining scandals begins not with a staged controversy, but with a chilling, genuine threat. Just this year, in May 2025, the pop icon was scheduled to perform a highly publicized, free concert in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This event, dedicated to her devoted little monsters, was meant to be a celebration of life, art, and acceptance, themes central to her entire ethos. Instead, it was nearly transformed into a horrific tragedy. Brazilian authorities, working with international intelligence, foiled an insidious terror plot targeting the massive crowd. 2 individuals were arrested, reportedly planning to use explosives and Molotov cocktails. The chilling specificity of the intelligence pointed to a direct intent to target the LGBTQ+ community, the very heart of Gaga's fervent fanbase. While the show proceeded safely, the plot's revelation later sent a cold shockwave through her entire organization and the fan community. This was not a stunt. This was genuine political violence aimed at the culture she champions. It serves as a stark reminder that when you live a life dedicated to provocative performance and political advocacy, the line between performance and real-world peril vanishes. This incident, the May 2025 terror plot, is the definitive benchmark against which all her other controversies must now be judged, and it forms the apex of our countdown. From the staged theatrical bloodbaths and shocking religious imagery to genuine threats against her fans, this is the story of an artist whose genius for controversy is matched only by the devotion of those who follow her. We're counting down the biggest, darkest, and most defining scandals that shaped and often threatened the legend of Lady Gaga. Top 10. The Muppet Coat and Outrageous Fashion. The launch of Lady Gaga's career was characterized by a relentless barrage of shocking fashion choices designed to provoke a reaction. The lowest-ranking item on our list, the least shocking, but perhaps the most necessary early scandal, was her infamous fashion moment in 2009, the Kermit the Frog coat. This controversy was pure aesthetic disruption. As she was aggressively promoting her debut album, The Fame, Gaga arrived at a German television appearance, wearing a coat constructed entirely of dozens of plush, taxidermy-style Kermit the Frog dolls. On the surface, it was ridiculous, playful, and absurd. It perfectly captured the early, experimental essence of her brand, a cartoonish embrace of the bizarre. But the controversy it generated was twofold: the ethics of appropriation. It raised immediate questions about the treatment of intellectual property, albeit Muppet property. The fashion statement was so audacious that it blurred the line between couture and children's entertainment. The PETA problem, pre-meat. While not made of real animals, the garment was instantly classified by some as a bizarre commentary on fur and animal rights, setting the stage for the far greater scandal she would ignite a year later with real meat. The Kermit coat scandal, and the countless other early costumes involving bubble dresses, excessive shoulder pads, and highly stylized makeup, served a critical purpose. They trained the public to expect the unexpected. It ensured that every public appearance became a mini-event, a cultural curiosity. These early fashion choices weren't just about clothes, they were strategic cultural landmines set to explode. They were the training wheels for a career built on provocation, establishing the fundamental principle that Lady Gaga's primary artistic medium was her own image, and that image would always be designed to challenge, confuse, and sometimes infuriate the audience. It was a soft launch for outrage, paving the way for the truly seismic events that would follow. Top 9. The Paparazzi Bloodbath VMA Performance. Moving higher up the ladder of theatrical shock, We arrive at the incident that solidified Lady Gaga's status as a must-watch performer, blending pop stardom with visceral, cinematic horror. The 2009 VMA Paparazzi Bloodbath performance. By the time the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards rolled around, Gaga was already a sensation, but she had not yet cemented her role as the premier spectacle artist of her generation. That changed on this night. Her performance of Paparazzi began innocently enough, a glamorous, if slightly manic, rendition. But as the song reached its crescendo, the theatrical elements escalated rapidly, transforming the stage into a scene straight out of a horror film. The sequence saw Gaga, dressed in a stunning but fragile white outfit, engaged in a metaphorical struggle with her dancers, who represented the consuming glare of the media. This struggle reached its bloody climax when, after appearing to be physically injured and then pulling herself back up to sing, Gaga ended the performance literally drenched in crimson liquid, simulating blood gushing from her ribcage. Finally, she was hoisted into the air, dangling lifelessly above the stage, a macabre symbol of the star who was seemingly destroyed by her own fame. The immediate reaction was an explosion of shock and fascination. Public safety concerns. The sheer volume and realism of the simulated blood led to genuine alarm among some viewers who initially believed the performer had been seriously injured. Theatrical violence. Critics and concerned parents debated whether such intense, staged violence was appropriate for a major network music awards show, especially one watched by a young audience. The message. The underlying message was often lost in the shock. Gaga intended the performance as a dark commentary on the aggressive, almost violent nature of celebrity worship and the media's obsession that kills the artist. While this controversy was purely performative, no one was truly harmed, and the blood was stagecraft. It fundamentally changed the game for pop stars. It signaled that Gaga was willing to take artistic risks far beyond typical choreographed routines, embracing the dark, the grotesque, and the overtly dramatic to drive home her points about the artifice and danger of celebrity. It set the precedent that a Lady Gaga performance was less a concert number and more a cultural flashpoint, demanding a reaction, whether of applause or disgust. Top 8. The Vomit Art Performance. In the world of high-concept performance art, Lady Gaga frequently collaborates with artists whose work challenges traditional norms. However, one such collaboration crossed a line for many, leading to a visceral and highly publicized controversy. The 2014 SXSW Vomit Art Performance. During a performance at the South by Southwest SXSW Festival in Austin, Texas, Gaga performed her song Swine in a way that remains one of her most intensely debated live moments. Midway through the song, she was joined on stage by the contemporary artist Millie Brown, known for her vomit paintings, where she drinks colored milk and then regurgitates it onto a canvas. In this shocking performance, Brown proceeded to drink a neon green liquid, and then, while Gaga played the drums and sang, Brown leaned over Gaga's chest and deliberately vomited the green liquid onto her. The act was repeated later in the song, this time directly onto the artist while she was on the floor. The controversy was instantaneous and severe. Promotion of unsafe behavior. Critics and mental health groups immediately condemned the act, arguing that the public display of purging, glamorized, disordered eating and bulimic behavior, particularly given the vulnerability of young fans who look up to the star. Artistic merit versus cheap stunt. Even Gaga's defenders struggled with this one. Many wondered if the performance achieved any genuine artistic commentary or if it was merely shock for shock's sake, relying on bodily fluids to garner headlines. The response. Following immediate public outrage, Demi Lovato, a prominent advocate for mental health and recovery, publicly criticized Gaga, stating, "It's not artistic or cool, it's a message that says it's okay to have an eating disorder." Gaga vehemently defended the performance, arguing it was a piece of conceptual art about vomiting up her inner pain and feelings of being harassed by the media, stating that art should be free from judgment. However, the public perception remained heavily weighted toward concern over the normalization of unhealthy behavior. The SXSW incident ranks highly because it wasn't just about controversial costumes or religious themes. It actively engaged with the human body in a way that touched on serious public health issues, demonstrating that Gaga's commitment to artistic extremity could sometimes clash dangerously with her role model status. Top 7. David Bowie Tribute Backlash. Lady Gaga has often spoken about her deep and profound reverence for the artists who shaped her, most notably David Bowie. When she was chosen to perform the official tribute to the legendary musician at the 2016 Grammy Awards, it should have been a crowning moment. Instead, it became a significant scandal marked by creative overreach and unexpected criticism from the very source that mattered most: Bowie's family. Gaga's tribute was undeniably spectacular. She began with a dramatic transformation, utilizing rapid costume changes, projections, and wigs to cycle through several of Bowie's most iconic personas: Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, and the Thin White Duke. She performed a hyperactive medley of his hits, including Space Oddity, Changes, Rebel Rebel, and Fame. While the production was technically impressive and full of energy, it was widely criticized as being too frenetic, too focused on Gaga's performance of Bowie, rather than a thoughtful homage to his music. The controversy reached a peak with a devastating, high-profile critique: Duncan Jones's disapproval. David Bowie's son, the acclaimed director Duncan Jones, took to social media shortly after the performance. He posted the definition of the word Gaga, a state of bewilderment or excitement, typically one that is transient or is regarded as foolish, and stated that he was trying to take the crazy out of the equation, implicitly dismissing the tribute as excessively and foolishly over the top. The backlash was painful for Gaga, who considered Bowie a spiritual mentor. Perceived exploitation. Critics argued that the performance, sponsored by Intel and heavily featuring technological effects, felt more like a commercialized Gaga sings Bowie spectacle than a respectful artistic memorial. Too much too soon. The tribute was delivered just weeks after Bowie's sudden death, and many fans felt the rapid, high-energy medley lacked the necessary gravitas and emotional depth required for such a monumental loss. The 2016 Grammy incident ranks here because it was a rare moment where Gaga's artistic audacity backfired, not just with general audiences, but with the very family of the icons she sought to honor. It highlighted the risk of her maximalist aesthetic. Sometimes in trying to do too much, the emotional core of the art, the sincerity, is lost. It was a scandal of artistic judgment and timing, proving that even a heartfelt tribute can become a controversy when filtered through the lens of Lady Gaga's signature extravagance. Top 6. The R. Kelly collaboration and scrap music video. In 2013, Lady Gaga released the single "Do What You Want with My Body," a track that featured the R&B singer R. Kelly. At the time of the song's release, R. Kelly was already facing significant legal scrutiny and long-standing public allegations concerning sexual misconduct and abuse, particularly involving underage girls. The decision by Gaga, an outspoken advocate for abuse survivors, to collaborate with him immediately sparked a fierce controversy that would define the era of her art pop album. The lyrical content of the song itself, a seemingly consensual exploration of handing over control, took on a profoundly sinister undertone given R. Kelly's history. Critics argued that the collaboration effectively mainstreamed and normalized an artist whose alleged crimes were an open secret in the music industry. The situation escalated dramatically when the proposed music video for the song was filmed. The video was directed by Terry Richardson, a photographer who had himself faced numerous, high-profile allegations of sexual misconduct over the years. According to reports, the video featured scenes where R. Kelly, playing a doctor, allegedly drugged and sexually assaulted Gaga in a hospital setting. This concept, combining two controversial figures in a dramatization of sexual violence, was an ethical and public relations disaster waiting to happen. The core of the scandal rested on two main pillars: hypocrisy and advocacy. How could a champion of the LGBTQ+ community and a public advocate for survivors of sexual abuse, later revealed to be a survivor herself, align herself with two men facing such serious allegations? Fans accused her of prioritizing chart success over ethical responsibility. The Mute R. Kelly movement. As the years passed and the accusations against R. Kelly were thoroughly documented in the 2019 documentary Surviving R. Kelly, the pressure on Gaga became overwhelming. Gaga's ultimate retraction. The controversy finally led to a significant and rare admission of error from the fiercely independent artist. In 2019, following the documentary's release, Lady Gaga issued a heartfelt public apology, stating, "I stand behind these women 1000%. Believe them. know they are suffering, and feel strongly that they need to be heard and respected. Crucially, she announced that she was taking Do What You Want off all streaming and download platforms and would never work with R. Kelly again. The music video, already shelved, was permanently scrapped. This scandal ranks highly because it was not a matter of artistic interpretation or fashion, but an ethical failure that Gaga herself later acknowledged. It demonstrated the power of public outcry and the music industry's changing tolerance for problematic figures, forcing one of the world's biggest stars to actively erase a major work from her discography. It remains a stain on the art pop era and a crucial turning point in her public moral positioning. Top 5. The COVID-positive performances. A controversy less about artistic expression and more about public health and responsibility. The scandal over Lady Gaga's COVID-positive performances remains a major flashpoint, especially in the wake of the 2024 HBO special on her Chromatica Ball tour. The revelation stems from information disclosed around the filming and execution of the tour, which had been delayed due to the pandemic. During a period of the tour, it was revealed that Lady Gaga had contracted COVID-19. While many artists had to cancel or postpone shows due to the virus, it became known that Gaga opted to continue performing despite testing positive. Specifically, it was reported she performed 5 separate concerts while knowingly infected. The backlash that followed was immediate, intense, and deeply rooted in contemporary public health ethics. Public health risk. The most severe criticism focused on the reckless endangerment of others. Performing in front of thousands of little monsters who were packed shoulder to shoulder while knowing she carried a highly transmissible virus was widely viewed as a profound breach of responsibility. It put not only her fans at risk, but also her band, crew, venue staff, and their families. The message versus the action. As an artist who consistently promotes empathy, care, and protection for her vulnerable fans, the action was seen as hypocritical. The commitment to the show must go on appeared to override basic safety protocols. Calls for legal action. Fan groups and critics online discussed the possibility of mass litigation, arguing that attendees of those 5 specific concerts were put in direct danger and deserved compensation or at least a formal apology. Gaga's defense centered on the immense pressure of the touring machine and her dedication to her fans, coupled with the assumption that, by that point in the pandemic, transmission risk was lower and fans were expected to take their own precautions. However, this defense did little to quell the outrage. This scandal is highly significant because it breaks from the pattern of performative controversies. It involved real-world epidemiological risk. It showed a gap between the star's humanitarian rhetoric and her potentially dangerous actions, leading to a profound discussion about the responsibility of global entertainers in a post-pandemic world. The decision to risk the health of her audience for the sake of the schedule placed her under intense public scrutiny and remains a defining ethical question mark of her late career tours. Top 4. Alejandro and Judas religious iconography backlash. Lady Gaga was raised in a strict Catholic environment, and much like Madonna before her, her music and visual art have repeatedly clashed violently with conservative religious norms. This sustained multi-year controversy surrounding the use of Catholic and Christian symbols in her videos for Alejandro, 2010, and Judas, 2011, ranks as one of her most defining and emotionally charged scandals. This was a deliberate act of provocation that leveraged deeply sacred imagery for commercial pop art, sparking a relentless campaign from groups like the Catholic League. The Alejandro Outrage, 2010. The music video for Alejandro, directed by Stephen Klein, was a dark, stylized exploration of repressed desire in queer liberation. The scenes that caused a massive furor included the latex nun. Gaga is seen wearing a latex nun's habit, a symbol of piety rendered explicitly sexual and restrictive, swallowing the rosary. In one of the most condemned images, Gaga is shown swallowing a set of rosary beads, a prayer tool of immense significance, an act widely interpreted as profanation or blasphemy. Inverted crosses. The inclusion of inverted crosses on costumes and set pieces, a traditional symbol of the dark side, further fueled claims that the video was satanic or anti-Christian. The Judas Outrage, 2011. Released strategically just before Easter, the Judas video took the religious controversy to a new, explicit level by directly reinterpreting the Bible. Biblical reenactment. Gaga cast herself as Mary Magdalene and actor Norman Reedus as Judas Iscariot, setting the story of Jesus' betrayal among a modern-day motorcycle gang. Thematic conflict. The song's lyrics, such as "Jesus is my virtue" and "Judas is the demon I cling to," were interpreted as a celebration of betrayal and a confusion of good and evil, deeply offending those who hold the figures as sacred. Preemptive condemnation. The Catholic League preemptively condemned the video before its release, calling it a stunt intended to rip off Christian idolatry and claiming Gaga was exploiting faith for attention. The significance of the scandal. This sustained religious backlash was more potent than her fashion controversies because it touched on the fundamental beliefs of billions of people. Gaga insisted her use of the imagery was an exploration of her Catholic guilt, the nature of light and darkness, and the struggle for redemption, all deeply spiritual themes. However, for religious authorities, the sexualization and manipulation of these icons for commercial entertainment amounted to blasphemy. The Alejandro and Judas scandal forced the global conversation about the acceptable boundaries of pop art. It cemented Gaga's status as a provocateur. But unlike a simple publicity stunt, this controversy carried tangible weight, resulting in bans and censure in highly conservative regions worldwide, demonstrating the profound, real-world cultural impact of her artistic choices. Top 3. Cancelled Indonesia concert and anti-LGBTQ+ protests. The relentless artistic controversies and the political advocacy baked into Lady Gaga's brand came to a head in 2012 with a terrifying real-world confrontation in Southeast Asia, resulting in the cancellation of her sold-out Jakarta, Indonesia concert. This ranks higher than the religious art backlash because it involved direct threats of violence and successfully shut down a major global event, putting the safety of 52,000 fans at risk. The concert was part of her Born This Way ball tour, an international spectacle dedicated to themes of self-acceptance, queer identity, and individualism. Indonesia, while officially secular, has the world's largest Muslim population. The threats and protests. Conservative Islamic groups, most notably the Islamic Defenders Front, FPI, vehemently opposed the concert. Their objections were explicitly focused on what they deemed Gaga's vulgar, satanic, and immoral presence, which they argued would corrupt the nation's youth. Death threats. The FPI publicly threatened chaos if Gaga set foot in the country. They vowed to gather tens of thousands of protesters and confront the singer on her way from the airport. Some leaders called her a devil's messenger. Targeting the fans. The groups went so far as to purchase tickets, intending to enter the venue and physically stop the show, demonstrating a clear willingness to engage in direct conflict with the concert attendees. The cancellation. Due to the credible threats of violence, the Jakarta police refused to issue the necessary concert permits, stating they could not guarantee the singers or the audience's safety. The promoters, Big Daddy and Gaga's management fought to save the show, even considering toning down the production, but Gaga's team ultimately refused to compromise the artistic integrity and political message of the Born This Way ball. The final decision was to cancel the show, significance to her legacy. This cancellation was a major defeat for freedom of expression and a terrifying validation of the real danger that radical extremism poses to her platform. Direct political impact. Unlike a critique from a Western church group, this event demonstrated how Gaga's explicit support for queer rights and sexual freedom directly challenged prevailing political and religious structures in parts of the world. Safety of the Little Monsters. The decision to cancel was purely based on the physical security of her fans, highlighting the cost of being an icon for marginalized communities. The forces of intolerance had successfully used threats of violence to silence an artist and disenfranchise her local fan base. The Indonesia cancellation remains a dark, defining moment, proving that Lady Gaga's commitment to her message could invite not just controversy, but genuine geopolitical peril. Top 2. The meat dress. There is one scandal that more than any other defined Lady Gaga's early career as the ultimate provocateur, simultaneously shocking the world and making a profound, dual-layered political statement: the 2010 MTV Video Music Awards meat dress. In September 2010, at the height of her Fame Monster era, Lady Gaga arrived on the VMA red carpet wearing a gown, hat, boots, and bag, all constructed entirely from raw flank steak. The meat was sewn together by designer Frank Fernandez and styled by Nicola Formichetti. The reaction was immediate, explosive, and remains one of the most referenced cultural shock moments of the 21st century. The controversy and the statement. The scandal was multifaceted, triggering outrage from various camps. Animal rights activism. PETA immediately condemned the dress, calling it offensive and reeking of cruelty. This was the most visceral reaction, accusing Gaga of trivializing animal life for fashion. Hygiene and aesthetics. Millions found the dress repulsive, viewing it as unhygienic, grotesque, and simply bad fashion. However, the noise obscured a deeper, highly calculated political commentary that Gaga later clarified. The political statement. Gaga explained that the dress was a protest against the U.S. military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell (DADT) policy, which prohibited openly gay, lesbian, or bisexual people from serving in the armed forces. She stated, "If we don't stand up for what we believe in, and if we don't fight for our rights, pretty soon we're going to have as many rights as the meat on our bones." In other words, the refusal to acknowledge the humanity and identity of LGBTQ+ service members reduces them to mere objects. To meet the cultural impact, the meat dress became the definitive piece of pop art of its time. It proved that Gaga was not merely a pop star, but a conceptual artist whose medium was global media spectacle. Enduring iconography. The dress, preserved and displayed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, remains her most recognizable, globally disseminated image of pure controversy. The price of art. It forced the world to ask, how far is an artist allowed to go to make a point? The dress was a flawless execution of shock art strategy, generating a priceless amount of media attention and permanently branding her as a fearless iconoclast. It is arguably the most important scandal in her career, yet it sits at number 2, reserved for a crisis that transcends artistic performance and enters the realm of political terror. Top 1. The terror plot against Little Monsters. The absolute most shocking and defining controversy, which stands as a grim validation of the real-world impact of Lady Gaga's advocacy, is the May 2025 foiled terror plot at the Rio de Janeiro concert. While many of the entries on this list are controversies of choice, a shocking outfit, a provocative video, a risky collaboration, this incident was an unprovoked attack by external forces against her and her fans, driven entirely by the political and cultural weight she carries. The details of the threat. The free concert in Rio, meant to be a massive celebration of her music and her community, drew an enormous crowd. Unbeknownst to the majority of attendees, and even many within her team, local authorities, supported by international counterterrorism intelligence, arrested 2 individuals who were allegedly planning to unleash an attack on the gathering. Targeted violence. The intelligence revealed that the suspects were specifically targeting the large, visible contingent of LGBTQ+ fans, the Little Monsters, who gather at Gaga's shows. Her concerts are sanctuaries for this community, and the perpetrators sought to violate that sanctuary with deadly force. The motive. The attack was not about music, piracy, or artistic offense. It was an act of extremism aimed at the very message of love, tolerance, and diversity that Gaga preaches. She is a symbol of anti-establishment freedom, making her a direct target for those who seek to impose rigid, hateful ideologies. The reason for rank. This incident takes the number 1 spot because it irrevocably shifts the narrative of her career from controversy as art to controversy as peril. The shift to real danger. Every other scandal was, to some degree, contained within the cultural sphere. The meat dress was preserved. The R. Kelly music was deleted. The religious protests were loud debates. The Rio plot was a genuine threat of mass casualty, underscoring that for some groups, Gaga's message is not merely offensive, it is justification for violence. The price of advocacy. It highlights the immense physical danger that comes with being a global icon for human rights and marginalized groups. The Little Monsters are a political family, and the peril directed at them is peril directed at her legacy. The threat was a direct, terrifying consequence of her Born This Way mantra, illustrating that the battle for acceptance is far from over and can be fought with real explosives. The Rio terror plot is the most chilling chapter in Lady Gaga's story, proving that her life of spectacular boundary pushing has attracted the deepest, darkest forms of resistance. She has survived her own art, but now she must confront the violence her powerful, polarizing message inspires in the world outside the stage. We have navigated the turbulent waters of Lady Gaga's career, counting down 10 defining controversies that showcase an artist who wields shock like a paintbrush. From the relatively tame aesthetic provocations of the Muppet Coat to the profound ethical questions raised by the COVID-positive performances, and finally, to the genuine terror aimed at her fanbase in Rio de Janeiro, this journey reveals a fundamental truth. Lady Gaga's art is inseparable from its controversy. Key takeaways on Gaga's legacy. The calculated iconoclast. Gaga rarely stumbles into scandal, she charges into it. Her early career demonstrated a mastery of the spectacle. She used religious iconography, questionable collaborations, and unforgettable fashion, like the meat dress, not just for headlines, but to push deeper, often political messages about identity and acceptance. Her work is a perpetual commentary on the price and nature of fame. The price of authenticity. The later controversies, the R. Kelly collaboration and the COVID-positive shows, reveal the human cost and ethical dilemmas of maintaining a megastar persona. She has had to backtrack, apologize, and face harsh judgment when her artistic choices or actions fell short of the moral standards she champions. The defender of the monsters. Ultimately, her legacy is defined by the unwavering devotion she commands from her little monsters. The terror plot in Rio brings this full circle, demonstrating that her fans are more than just an audience. They are a political and cultural movement that requires protection. She stands as a beacon for the marginalized, and the scandals directed at her are often, at their core, attacks on the very people she defends. Lady Gaga is more than a pop star. She is a cultural battlefield. The controversies she creates and the threats she endures are simply the noise that accompanies a revolution. We, the dedicated investigators at Starlight Remains, believe that understanding the darkness surrounding a star is the only way to truly appreciate their light. If you found this deep dive compelling, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next expose into the shadows of celebrity. What other star has a career built so aggressively on the precipice of controversy? Let us know in the comments below. Would you like me to start the next celebrity deep dive? Or are there any aspects of Lady Gaga's story you would like to explore further?